The book of Jasher, chapter 10, verse 1 through 18. And Peleg, the son of Eber, died in those days in the 48th year of the life of Abram, son of Terah. And all the days of Peleg were 239 years. And when the Lord had scattered the sons of men on account of their sin at the tower, behold, they spread forth into many divisions, and all the sons of men were dispersed into the corners of the earth. And all the families became each according to its language, its land, or its city. And the sons of men built many cities according to their families, in all the places where they went, and throughout the earth where the Lord had scattered them. And some of them built cities of places from which they were afterward extirpated. And they called these cities after their own names, or the names of their children, or after their particular occurrences. And the sons of Japheth, the son of Noah, went and built themselves cities in the places where they were scattered. And they called all their cities after their names. And the sons of Japheth were divided upon the faces of the earth into many divisions and languages. And these are the sons of Japheth, according to their families: Gomer, Magog, Medai, Javan, Tubal, Meche, and Tyrus. These are the children of Japheth, according to their generations. And the children of Gomer, according to their cities, were Frankum, who dwell in the land of Franza, by the river Franza, by the river Sinai. And the children of Rephath are Bartinum, who dwell in the land of Bartenia, by the river Ledi, which empties its waters into the great sea Jahan, that is oceanous. And the children of Togarmah are 10 families, and these are their names: Buzar, Parzanek, Beljar, Elikaninum, Rejib, Tarki, Bib, Zabuk, Ungal, and Tilmaz. All these spread and rested in the north and built themselves cities, and they called their cities after their own names. Those are they who abide by the river Hilthah and Italak unto this day. But the families of Angoli, Beljar, and Parzanek, they dwell by the river Dunni. And the names of their cities are also according to their own names. And the children of Javan are Javanim, who dwell in the land of Macedonia. And the children of Medier are the Oralim, that dwell in the land of Corson. And the children of Tabal, those that dwell in the land of Tuscana, by the river Pashia. And the children of Mishe are the Shabani. And the children of Tyrus are Rushash, Cushni, and Ungolis. All these went and built themselves cities. Those are the cities that are situated by the sea, Jebus by the river Kura, which empties itself into the river Tragon. And the children of Elisha are the Almanim, and they also went and built themselves cities. Those are the cities situated between the mountains of Job and Shabbathmo. And of them were the people of Lombardy, who dwell opposite the mountains of Job and Shabbathmo. And they conquered the land of Italia, and remain there unto this day. And the children of Kittim are the Romim, who dwell in the valley of Canopia, by the river Tabaru. And the children of Bedonim are those who dwell in the cities of the sea Jahan in the land of Bordna. These are the families of the children of Japheth, according to their cities and languages, when they were scattered after the tower. And they called their cities after their names and occurrences. And these are the names of all their cities, according to their families, which they built in those days after the tower.
Now let's break this down real fast, okay? Jasher chapter 10 verse 5 and 6 said, And some of them built cities in places from which they were afterward extirpated, and they called these cities after their own names. So they called these cities after their own names, all right, or the names of their children, all right, or after their particular occurrences. Okay, so they named these cities after their names, their children, or after their particular occurrences. Okay, and after the sons of Japheth, the son of Noah, went and built themselves cities in the places where they were scattered, and they called all their cities after their names. And the sons of Japheth were divided upon the face of the earth into many divisions and languages. All right, so they were split after the Tower of Babel. Okay, and they named their cities after their families and places. All right, that they went. Okay, throughout the earth. With that being said, these same names are still here to this day, and we're going to prove that. Now, verse 8 says, "And the children of Gomer, according to their cities, were the Frank, who dwell in the land of Franza, by the river Franza, by the river Sinai." All right. So the first step you take is you have to go and research, where is Franza? All right. Is Franza still on the map? Okay. And we're going to do that particularly. All praises to the Most High. Now, I did a little Google research on the Britannica, on the Cheyenne River, or the Seine River, and it's located in France, aka Franza, after the Loire, its longest. It rises 18 miles, 30 kilometers northwest of Dijon, or Dijon, and flows in a northwesterly direction through Paris before emptying into the English Canal at Le Havre. The river is 485 miles, approximately 780 kilometers long. All right. And then it says its tributaries drains an area of about 30,400 square miles, 78,700 square kilometers long. It is one of Europe's great historic rivers, and its drainage network carries most of the French inland waterway traffic. Since the early Middle Ages, it has been above all the river of Paris, and the mutual independence of the river and the city that was established at its major crossing points has been indismissibly forged. The fertile center of its basin in the Ile de France was the cradle of the French monarchy and the nucleus of the expanding nation, and is still its heartland and metropolitan region. All praises. Now here's a map of the Cheyenne River that is located in France, or Franza. It is located by other geographical areas such as Switzerland, Australia, Italy, Belgium, Netherlands, and Germany. All praises to the Most High. Now let's jump back over here to verse 9 real fast. "And the children of Rephath are the Bartonim, who dwell in the land of Bartonia, by the river Ledi, which empties its waters in the great sea of Jahan, that is oceanous." All praises. Now, as you can see, we right back at Google. I researched Bartonia, and as you can see, it is represented by Great Britain, or Britannia. As it says, Britain, Great Britain, UK, United Kingdom of Great Britain, and Northern Ireland. Britannia, or Britannia. Now a monarchy in northwestern Europe, occupying most of the British Isles, divided into England and Scotland and Wales and Northern Ireland. Great Britain is often used loosely to refer to the, all right? Anything in there seem a little familiar? Any words in there seem familiar? All right, British Isles. All right, hold on to that word, because that word is going to be explained in another Bible scripture right after this. All praises. Britannia has been used in several different senses, but is the best known as a national personification of the United Kingdom. The name is a Latin sensation of the native Britannic word for the island, Britannia, which also produced the Greek form Britannica, or Britannia, which originally in the 4th to the 1st centuries BC designated a collection of islands with individual names including Albion or Britain. In modern Welsh, the name remains Prydain. By the 1st century BC, Britannia came to be used for Great Britain. Specifically, after the Roman conquest in 43 AD, Britannia meant Roman Britain, a province covering the island south of Caledonia, roughly Scotland, where Rome, Britain, was divided into 4 provinces in 197 AD. 2 were called Britannia Superior and Britannia Inferior. Britannia is the name given to the female personification of the island, and it is a term still used to refer to the whole island. In the 2nd century, Roman Britannia came to be personified as a goddess, armed with a trident and a shield and wearing a centurion helmet. The name Britannia long survived the end of Roman rule in Britain in the 5th century, and yielded the name for the island in most European and various other languages, including the English Britain and the modern Welsh Prydain. In the 9th century, the associated terms Bretwalda and Britain Weldia were applied to some Anglo-Saxon kings to assert a wider hegemony in Britain, and hyperbolic inscriptions on coins and titles and charters often included the equivalent title Rex Britanniae. However, when England was unified, the title used was Rex Anglo-Saxonum, King of the Anglo-Saxons. After centuries of decline use, the Latin form was revived during the English Renaissance as a rhetorical evocation of a British national identity, especially following the Acts of Union in 1707, which joined the kingdoms of England and Scotland. The personification of the martial Britannia was used as an emblem of British maritime power and unity, most notably in rule Britannia. A British cultural icon, she was featured on all modern British coinage series until the redesign in 2008, and still appears annually on the gold and silver Britannia bullion coin series. In 2015, a new definitive E2 coin was issued with a new image of Britannia. She is also depicted in the Brit Awards statuette, the British Phonographic Industry's annual music awards. All praises. All right, here's the Roman goddess Britanniae or Britanniae, armed with a trident shield and wearing a centurion. All praise to the Most High. All right, now we back at verse 10. And the children of Togarmah are 10 families, and these are their names: Buzar, Porzunak, Bojar, Elikanum, Rejibib, Tarki, Bid, Zabuk, Ungal, and Tilmas. And these spread and rested in the north and built themselves cities. All praises. Alright, all praise to the Most High. As you can see, we back at square one. Where is Buzar? Alright. As you can see, Buzar is the country of Iran and its province is Fars, County Darab. I'm guessing that's saying Bakish, which is race stock, which I have no knowledge of, but hopefully I can. All praise to the Most High. So we know that Buzar is represented by the country of Iran. So we know that Iran descendants are of Japheth, as you can see. And we're going to go into the Wikipedia definition of Buzar and see what we can all get up out of it. All praise to the Most High. Bazar, also romanized as Buzar and Buzar. All praises. Also known as Buzza, is a village in Kuistan Rural District, Raystock District, Darab County, Fars Province, Iran. At the 2006 census, its population was 27 and 7 families. All praises. Iran. As you can see, I got Persia circled. Okay. which redirects here for the uses. See Iran and Persia, disambiguation. Iran, Persia, Republic of Iran, Persian, also called Persia, all right, all praises, is a country in Western Asia. It is bordered to the northwest by Armenia and Azerbaijan, to the north by the Caspian Sea, to the northeast by Turkmenistan, to the east by Afghanistan and Pakistan, to the south by the Persian Gulf, the Gulf of Oman, and to the west by Turkey and Iraq. Its original location in Eurasia and proximity to the Strait of Hormuz gives it significant geographic importance. Tehran is the capital and largest city, as well as the leading economic and cultural hub. It is also the most populous city in Western Asia, with more than 8.8 residents and up to 15 million, including the metropolitan area, with 83 million inhabitants. Iran, the world's 17th most populous country, spanning 1,648,195 kilometers, 636,372 square miles. It is the second largest country in the Middle East and the 17th largest in the world. As you can see, it is the Islamic Republic of Iran. All right, so check this out, right? Here, what you have here is an Afro-Iranian, all right, child. As you can see, this is an albino, all right? This is an albino Afro-Iranian child, all right? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to compare this picture to an African-American albino child, all right? I'm going to compare an Afro-Iranian albino child to an African-American albino child, all right? And y'all understand while I'm doing this towards the end, all right? And then we'll get back to JAPHET, all praises. Okay? Now, right here, what you have is the African-American albino child, all right? Now, as you can see the difference, all right? Now, the reason I say this, what's going on here is you have a few Hebrew Israelites out there that also believe that the albinos are Esau, okay? Now, if you looked at the other picture, all right, you can very well see that there is a difference between JAPHET's albino children and Shem's albino children, all right? With that being said, as you can tell that the African-American albino has more woolly hair as of compared to the Iranian Afro albino child who has straight hair, all right? And we know that the Iranians are JAPHET. So with that being said, this albino JAPHET child would be more closer to a Caucasian male or female, or a white male or female, than a Shem's albino, all right? All praises. Now let's jump into scripture right quick. This is Genesis chapter 25, verse 25, as it reads, "And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 old when she bare them, and the boys grew. And Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in a tent." All praises. Now what I want to do is I want to show y'all something real fast up in the book of Enoch. All right, chapter 105. And it says, "After a time, my son Methuselah took a wife for his son Lamech. She became pregnant by him and brought forth a child, the flesh of which was as white as snow and red as a rose, the hair of whose head was white like wool and long, and whose eyes were beautiful, When he opened them, he illuminated all the house like the sun. The whole house abounded with light. And when he was taken from the hand of the midwife, opening also his mouth, he spoke to the Lord of righteousness. Then Lamech his father was afraid of him, and flying away, came to his own father Methuselah, and said, I have begotten a son, unlike to the other children. He is not human, but resembling the offspring of the angels of heaven, is of a different nature from ours, being altogether unlike to us. His eyes are bright as the rays of the sun, his countenance glorious, and he looks not as if he belonged to me, but to the angels. I am afraid lest something miraculous should take place on earth in his days. And now, my father, let me entreat and request you to go to our progenitor Enoch and to learn from him the truth, for his residence is with the angels. When Methuselah heard the words of his son, he came to me at the extremities of the earth, for he had been informed that I was there, and he cried out. I heard his voice and went to him, saying, Behold, I am here, my son. Since thou art come to me, he answered and said, On account of a great event have I come to thee, and on account of a sight difficult to be comprehended have I approached thee. And now, my father, hear me, for to my son Lamech a child has been born, who resembles not him, and whose nature is not like the nature of man. His color is whiter than snow. He is redder than the rose. The hair of his head is whiter than white wool. His eyes are like the rays of the sun, and when he opened them, he illuminated the whole house. When also he was taken from the hand of the midwife, he opened his mouth and blessed the Lord of heaven. His father Lamech feared and fled to me, believing not that the child belonged to him, but that he resembled the angels of heaven. And behold, I am come to thee, that thou mightest point out to me the truth. Then I, Enoch, answered and said, The Lord will effect a new thing upon the earth. This have I explained and seen in a vision. I have shown thee that in the generation of Jared, my father, those who were from heaven disregarded the word of the Lord. Behold, they committed crimes, laid aside their class, and intermingled with women. With them also they transgressed, married with them, and begotten children. A great destruction therefore shall come upon the earth, a deluge, a great destruction shall take place in 1 year. This child which is born to you shall survive on the earth, and his 3 sons shall be saved with him. When all mankind who are on the earth shall die, he shall be safe, and his posterity shall beget on the earth giants, not spiritual, but carnal. Upon the earth shall a great punishment be afflicted, and it shall be watched from all corruption. Now therefore inform thy son Lamech that he who is born is the child in truth, and he shall come and call his name Noah, for he shall be to you a survivor. He and his children shall be saved from the corruption which shall take place in the world, from all the sin and from all the iniquity which shall be consummated on the earth in his days. Afterwards shall greater impiety take place than that which had been before consummated on the earth. For I am acquainted with holy mysteries, which the Lord himself has discovered and explained to me, and which I have read in the tablets of heaven. All praise to Yahweh. If you notice, when Esau came out red, there was no surprise, all right? There was no surprise when he came out red, okay? And he's supposed to be the white man. Now, when Noah came out white with woolly hair, Lamech almost lost his mind and thought that Noah was of the angels, okay? So I was just throwing that out there, a little something to think about, all right? A little food for thought. Now let's get back to where we was at concerning the rest of Japheth's children, all right? All praise to the Most High. All right, y'all. So we picking back up where we left off at chapter 10, all right? And this is one of Japheth's sons, Patsinox or Parzunox. When I researched, I couldn't actually find it, so I had to go actually do some deeper research. And all praise to the Most High, we was able to find it, and they fall upon the Pachins, all right? The Pechings or the Patanoks were a semi-nomadic Turkic people from Central Asia speaking the Peching language, which belonged to the Oghuz branch of the Turkic language family. All right. And as you can see down at the bottom, it's located in Eastern Europe, Anatolia. All praises. Now here's some more history on the Pechings. All right. Peching language. All right. Religion, Christianity, Tingrism, historical Islam. Now, I want y'all to pay attention to that. A lot of these pictures, all right, that we're going to be pulling up, a lot of their religion is going to be Islam. And I say that for a reason, because all throughout these parts, that's going to matter, okay? Because Esau plays a lot in Islam. All praise to the Most High. We're able to continue doing these videos and shine the light more and see that Esau has been hiding his seed. And JAPHET also. All right. Now let's continue on. There's a little map at the bottom of the Pechings. So let's actually blow that up. Of course, now I want to do some research on the Turkic people. As you can see, it says the Turkic people are a collection of ethnic groups. They're a collection of ethnic groups, okay? So, of Central, East, North, and West Asia, as well as parts of Europe, all right? And North Africa, who speak Turkic language, okay? So, as you can see, everybody, we know that JAPHET's children, were of dark descent. All of Noah's children were of dark descent, okay? Later on through this video, we're going to prove how they became white once we're able to dig deep into our research, all right? So give it time, be patient, all right? All right. As you can see, the region with a significant population in it. Of course, Turkey itself, Uzbekistan, Iran, Russia, Kazakhstan, China, Azerbaijan, the European Union, Turkmenistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Afghanistan. All right. So, as you can see, this is where JAPHET's children is populated, in which that actually fits scripture, all right? We're going to bring that out in just a few seconds. Well, I ain't going to say a few seconds, a few moments here, all right? All right, here's actually some more. Iraq, Tajikistan, the United States, Syria, Bulgaria, Ukraine, North Cyprus, Australia, Saudi Arabia, Mongolia, Lebanon, Moldova, and North Macedonia. Saudi Arabia, United States, all right? As you can see, JAPHET is everywhere. And like I said, we're going to prove how Esau is hiding his seed a lot in JAPHET. All praises to the Most High. Now, since we right here, before we continue, I'm going to bring out a Bible script, all right? In Genesis chapter 9, verse 27, and God shall enlarge JAPHET, and he shall dwell in the tents of Shem and Canaan, and shall be his servant. All praises. And we basically been showing already where JAPHET dominion has been. All right. And it says that he's going to dwell in the tents of Shem. All right. We're going to prove that. As you can see, here's a map of Saudi Arabia. You have Saudi Arabia located in the red zone. South of it, Egypt, Sudan, and South Sudan, Ethiopia, Kenya. All right, all where the Canaanites and Shemites and Hamites have lived at. And above the top, of course, you have where JAPHET is above. All right, and this map is going to actually be helpful. All right, locating the geographical revelation and prophecy of Revelation chapter 20. All right, so we're going to keep that in mind. So at the top, as you can see, this is where JAPHET, and I'm actually going to blow this up so we can have a better depiction of this map. All praises. All right, at the top, as you can see, you have Italy, Ukraine, Poland, Germany, France, Spain, the United Kingdom, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Afghanistan, Pakistan, all right, Iraq, okay. These are the borders of the Gentiles, all right. Then, of course, further to the east, you have Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, Myanmar, which is Burma, Thailand, Mongolia, and China. And of course, further to the east and southeast of it, which is still north, all right, Russia, Magnolia, China, South Korea, Japan, the Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia, Vietnam, Thailand, all right, China. All praise to the Most High. So these are the isles of the Gentiles that was mentioned in Genesis, all right, of JAPHET, okay. And like I said, man, you know, we all know that black civilization was the first civilization, and we're going to prove when these people became white, all right. So hopefully this information has become good and available to you, because now that you can see that once you call Esau the white man, you're calling him Caucasian, Caucus, and this is going to be explained all through the video. All praises. All praises. As you can see, I found some geographical artwork of the so-called Turkish people in Anatolia, Eastern Europe. Signs and symbols is what I like to call them. If you look at these pictures actually look something similar to what we have over here regarding their residences and houses. Now, I found something interesting. As you can see, if you look at this photo, this is the same depiction photo of a fallen angel, all right? And if you know anything about the Sumerian ancient civilization or the Anunnaki, this same photo, which is found in JAPHET's geographical area of Eastern Europe, of Anatolia, all right, can also be found in ancient Samaria, all right. All praise to the Most High. The Anunnaki, meaning we who came from the heavens. So you can spell it Annunaki. Spelled various of ways, but that's the way I know how to spell it. We'll try to take a good look of that. Same photo depiction of what we just looked at. Here's another photo of it, as you can see. This is a museum located somewhere. I actually have to get some information on that. Or you can look it up on YouTube, the Anunnaki. Pretty sure you'll come across it. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. Here's actually some biblical scripture concerning the Anunnaki, or the Anakim, or the Anak, a people great and tall, the children of Anakims, whom thou knowest, and of whom thou hast heard say, who can stand before the children of Anak? All right. So the children of Anak are the giants, and Anak themselves are the fallen angels, we who came from the heavens. All right. As you can see, this is mentioned in Deuteronomy chapter 9, verse 2. And I'm going to get you some background definition on that. All praises. All right. As you can see, we have Anak, Hebrew, homophone to a word for giant, neck, necklace. Hebrew pronunciation is a figure in the Hebrew Bible. His descendants are mentioned in narrative concerning the conquest of Canaan by the Israelites. To the book of Numbers, Anak was a forefather of Anakim. The Bible describes them as a very tall descendants of the Nephilim, all right? The Nephilim, all right? The Anunnaki. The text states that the Anakim were Revites, and the Anak was a son of Arba, all right? All praises. And you can actually find Arba in 3 scriptures in the Bible that I know of: Joshua 14 and 15. And the name of Hebron before was Kajorthaba, which Arba was a great man among the Anakims, and the land had rest from war, for people that missed that. Joshua 15 and 13. And unto Caleb the son of Jephunneh he gave a part among the children of Judah, according to the commandment of the Lord to Joshua, even the city of Arba, the father of Anak, which the city is Hebron. Okay, so the father of Anak. So this means that this was a fallen angel, all right, in Nephilim. And of course, Joshua chapter 21, verse 11, excuse me. And they gave them the city of Arbor, the father of Enoch, which city is Hebron, in the hill country of Judah, with the suburbs thereof and round about. I'm trying to understand something, man. When they talking about aliens, man, I'm talking about your ancient Anunnaki, man. Mystery and proof of the ancient aliens, man. These are the real aliens. Alright? And I'm talking about your big-headed, green, big black eyes guy, man. I'm talking about the Anunnaki, man. All praises. Here's a picture of the Assyrian, alright? Fallen angel, Nephilim, Mesopotamia, Anunnaki. Alright. So as you can see, man, these pictures are photographed everywhere throughout history, man, and knowledge, man. We can't dismiss these facts. All right. Now we at Belgar or Belgori, which is another one of Japheth's seed, which is a village in Sarajevo municipality and Bargis province in the southeast of Bulgaria. Bulgar lies within the territory of Stranza Nature Park and is one of the few places in Stranza which has preserved the traditional Nastanevevo fire deining ritual. All right, let's keep going. All right, we have Bulgaria, officially the Republic of Bulgaria, is a country in southeastern Europe. It is bordered by Romania to the north, all right, which is Roma, Serbia, and North Macedonia. Anybody know anything about North Macedonia? Or Macedonia is one of the great lands of Alexander the Great. Okay. To the west, Greece and Turkey to the south, and the Black Sea to the east. The capital and the largest city of Sofia. Other major cities are Plovdiv, Varna, and Bargis, with a territory of 110,994 square kilometers, 42,885 square miles. Bulgaria is Europe's 16th largest country. All right. So as you can see, Bulgaria is also located in Europe. So you can see a lot of Japheth seed is located in Europe. All right. Located in Europe. One of the earliest societies in the lands of modern-day Bulgaria was the Neolithic Korenovo culture, which date back to 6,500 BC. In the 6th to 3rd century BC, the region was a battlefield for ancient Thracians, Persians, Celts, and Macedonians. All right, Alexander the Great. Stability came when the Roman Empire conquered the region in AD 45. The Eastern Roman Empire lost some of these territories to the numerous early Slavs. They were invaded by a small number of warlike Bulgars in the late 7th century who subdued the Slavs and founded the First Bulgarian Empire in AD 681. It dominated most of the Balkans and significantly influenced the Slavic cultures by developing the Cyrillic script. The state lasted until the early 11th century when Byzantine Empire Basil II conquered and dismantled it. A successful Bulgarian revolt in 1185 established a second Bulgarian Empire, which reached its apex under Ivan Asen II, 1218 to 1241. After numerous exhausting wars and feudal strife, the empire disintegrated in 1396 and fell under Ottoman rule for nearly 5 centuries. The Russo-Turkish War of 1877 through 78 resulted in the formation of the third and current Bulgarian state. Many ethnic Bulgarians were left outside the new nation borders, which stoked irredentist sentiments that led to several conflicts with its neighbors and alliances with Germany in both wars. In 1946, Bulgaria came under the Soviet-led Eastern Bloc and became one-party socialist state. The ruling Communist Party gave up its monopoly on power after the revolutions of 1989 and allowed multi-party elections. Bulgaria then transitioned into a democracy and a market-based economy. Since adopting the democratic constitution in 1991, Bulgaria has been a unitary parliamentary republic composed of 28 provinces with a high degree of political
political, administrative, and economic centralizations. Bulgaria is a member of the European Union, NATO, and the Council of Europe. It is a founding state of Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, OSCE, and has taken its seat on the UN Security Council 3 times. Its market economy is part of the European single market and mostly relies on services, followed by industry, especially machine building and mining and agriculture. Bulgaria is a developing country with an upper middle income economy, very high human development index, although it has the lowest GDP per capita and joint lowest human development index in the European Union. Widespread corruption is a major socio-economic issue. Bulgaria ranked as the most corrupt country in the European Union in 2018. The country also faces a demographic crisis, with its population shrinking annually since the 1980s. It currently numbers roughly 7 million, down from a peak of nearly 9 million in 1988. Right? The Bulgars, also Bujars, Bulgari, Bogars, Bulgars, or Bulgari. Proto-Bulgarians were the Turkic semi-nomadic warrior tribes that flourished in the Pontic-Caspian steppe. Right? In the Volga region during the 7th century, they became known as the nomadic equestrians in the Volga-Ural region, but some researchers say that their ethnic roots can be traced to Central Asia. During their westward migration across the European steppe, the Bulgar tribes absorbed other ethnic groups and cultural influences in a process of ethnogenesis, including Indo-European, Finno-Ugric, and Hunnic tribes. Monogenetic research on Central Asian Turkic people and ethnic groups related to the Bulgars points to an affiliation with the Western Eurasian population. The Bulgars spoke a Turkic language, Bulgar language of the Ugric branch. They preserved the military titles, organization, and customs of Eurasian steppes, as well as the pagan shamanism and belief in the sky deity Tengra. All right, all praises. Now, the Bulgars became sedentary during the 7th century in the Pontic-Caspian steppe, establishing the polity of Old Great Bulgaria, century 635, which was absorbed by the Khazar Empire in 668 AD. In century 679, Khan Esperak conquered Scythia Minor, opening access to Moesia, and established the first Bulgarian Empire, where the Bulgars became a political military elite. They merged subsequently with established Byzantine population, as well as with the previously settled Slavic tribes, and were eventually Slavicized, thus forming the ancestors of modern Bulgarians. The remaining Pontic Bulgars migrated in the 7th century to the Volga River, where they founded the Volga Bulgaria. They preserved their identity well into the 13th century. The Volga Tatars and Chavash people claim to have originated from the Volga Bulgars. All right. With that being said, man, a lot of these names, man, we can actually research throughout the later videos and keep these things going and keep our iron sharpened, man. That way we can have knowledge on all these people, what these people did, what they were a part of, empires, lands, whatever, man. Knowledge is power. So we can't look past none of this, man, because looking past JAPHET, as you can see, has allowed us to teach a false doctrine and saying that Esau is the white man. We never really looked at JAPHET. All praise to the Most High. Now, Tigray, all right, Ottoman, Turkish, Bulgarian, Mongolian script, right? Modern Mongolian is one of the names of the primary chief deity used by the early Turkic and Mongolic peoples. Worship of Tigray is Tigranism. The core beings in Tigranism are the Heavenly Father, Tigray, Tingr, Estege, and the Earth Mother, Ej, Gazar, Age. It involves shamanism, animism, totemism, and ancestor worship, all right? Anybody know anything about ancestor worship? Check out Nipsey Hussle's funeral, and his mother, she does the whole thing with ancestor worship, all right? Now, Tigranism, also known as Tingrism, or Tenergism, or Tingrinism, is an ancient and medieval Central Asian, Eurasian steppe sky god. Tigray-centered state religion, as well as a number of modern Turco-Mongolic native religious movements and teachings. It was the prevailing religion of the Turks and Mongols, including Bulgars and Xenognu, Huns, and possibly the Mankans and Magyars. As the religion of several medieval states, Goturk, Kagnik, Western Turkic Kagnik, Eastern Turkic Kagnik, Old Great Bulgaria, Danube Bulgaria, Volga Bulgaria, and Eastern Turkey, Khazaria, all right, or Khazaria. And Erkbatig Tengori is mentioned as the Turuk Tigrisai, god of Turks. According to many academics at the imperial level, especially by the 12th and 13th century, Tigrinism was a monotheistic religion. Most contemporary Tigris present it as being monotheistic too. All right. Still pagan worship, and we don't play that over here. All praises to the Most High, man. They got to get that together. All right. Now here's some Bulgarian people right here, as you can see. And I actually want to show y'all some things, man, about this, man. Because like I said, man, if y'all notice, man, throughout these videos, I'm going to be showing y'all, you can see the crescent moon in the back with the star, you know, which the Islams represent. Who else represents that? What's his name? King Nimrod of Babylonia. If you go look at a lot of those stone statues that they used to worship. Yeah, man, so Islam plays a lot of part in JAPHET, man. You know, I thought it was a Middle Eastern religion, but as you can see, it's spread across the board. You know, second largest religion in the world. All right. This is the sky goddess. All right, wood or stone carved image. All right. Either way it goes, it's still a pagan deity. People bow and worship to these things. It's not a game. These things cannot walk, talk, hear, or see. And I'm going to show you guys something that's really crazy and outrageous that these people do. As you can see right here, what you have is someone's spirit feeding a stone, rock of their god. Okay. Like I say, man, these things are here in the world, man. People actually worship wood and stone. And that's part of our commandments in Exodus, that we are not to bow down and worship these things. For these, like I said, man, these things can't talk, walk, hear, worship. They can't do nothing, man. All right. So all praise to the Most High, man. Y'all stay away from these type of things. These type of things will get you condemned and blamed with the Most High. All right. It's not good for the spirit. All right. A lot of things that we don't see on the outside. So to the new people, all right, that's just now waking up, I need y'all to understand what y'all waking up into. All right. And place all y'all worries inside the Most High's hands. Okay. All right. Now here's a map. Not a map, I'm sorry about that, but here's a diagram of Shem seed. All right. Here's a diagram of Shem seed. Everyone that's born up under Shem. And right at the bottom, you can see I have Jacob and Esau circled. Okay. And what I'm going to prove to you guys is that when you're saying that Esau is white, you're basically saying that Esau came from the Caucasian race. All right. The Caucasian race. All right. So we're going to break this down real quick. All right. For those that say Esau is white, the Caucasian race, also Caucasoid or European, is an outdated grouping of human beings historically regarded as a biological taxon, which, depending on which of the historical race classification is used, has usually included ancient and modern populations from all parts of Europe, Western Asia, Central Asia, South Asia, North Africa, and the Horn of Africa. All right. Does any of those places seem like that's where Esau landed at? All right. He most definitely not landed in North Africa, nor did he land in the Horn of Africa. All right. First introduced in the 1780s by members of the Göttingen School of History, the term denoted one of three purported major races of humankind: Caucasoid, Mongoloid, Negroid, and biological anthropology. Caucasoid has been used as the umbrella term for phenotypically similar groups from these different regions with a focus on skeletal anatomy and especially cranial morphology without regard to skin tone. All right. Ancient and modern Caucasoid populations were thus not extensively white, but ranged in complexion from the white skin to dark skin. All right. Since the second half of the 20th century, physical and anthropologists have moved away from a typological understanding of human biological diversity towards a genomic and population-based perspective, and have tended to understand race and social classification of humans based on phenotype and ancestry, as well as cultural factors, as the concept is also understood in the social sciences. Although Caucasian, Caucasoid, and their counterparts, Negroid and Mongoloid, have been used less frequently as a biological classification in forensic anthropology, where it is sometimes used as the way to identify the ancestry of human remains based on interpretations of osteological measurements, the term remains in the use by some anthropologists. In the United States, the root term Caucasian has also often been used as a synonym for white or of European, all right, Middle Eastern or North African ancestry, all right. Its usage in American English has been criticized, all right. So let me show y'all something right quick. This is the appendix of the book of Jasher, all right. And as you can see, Esau has an actual date, all right, 2108. He was born and he died 2255, all right. So as you can see, scholars have a date, a supposed date on Esau, all right. And I'm going to show you why this matters, okay. All praises to the Most High. All right, so if you look at the definition of outdated, all right, outdated is out of date, all right, means out of date or obsolete, okay? So why is this important? Because we read something concerning the Caucasians, all right, what we just read concerning the Caucasians, all right, it said that the Caucasian was outdated, all right? So it means that the Caucasian is obsolete. Now here it is. The Caucasian race, also Caucasoid or European, is an outdated grouping of human beings historically regarded as a biological taxon. All right. So when you say that Esau is white, you're saying that he's a Caucasian, Caucasoid, European who is outdated and who is obsolete. And we know that Esau is not obsolete. He's very relevant in our days, very relevant in our time, and he is our brother. All right. So the average European that you see walking around today is what they are talking about, who is an outdated gene or who is obsolete. All right. So let's get that together, people, especially Hebrews out there teaching that false doctrine that Esau is the white man. All right. Jump over here to Deuteronomy chapter 23, verse 7 through 8. What does it say? Thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, for he is the brother. All right, for he is thy brother, but thou shalt not abhor an Egyptian, because thou wast a stranger in the land. The children of their begotten of them shall enter into the congregation of the Lord in their third generation. So the Most High was letting them in. If you look at the definition of abhor, the definition of abhor is to regard with disgust and hatred. All right, so we are not supposed to abhor an Edomite, or we are not supposed to abhor an Egyptian. So all you wicked Hebrews out there on the corner yelling at white people, your day is coming. All right.
Next on our list, we have the Elkinim, or the Alans. All right. Another one of Japheth seed, were an Iranian nomadic pastoral people of antiquity. All right. Now we're going to jump right into who these people were. The name Alan is an Iranian dialectal form, Aryan, all right, possibly related to the Masigati. The Alans have been connected by modern historian with the Central Asian Yankai and Urusai of Chinese and Roman sources respectively, having migrated westward and become dominant among the Samaritans on the Pontic Steppe. They are mentioned by Roman sources in the 1st century AD. At the time, they had settled the region north of the Black Sea and frequently raided the Parthian Empire and the Caucasian provinces of the Roman Empire. All right, the Caucasian provinces of the Roman Empire. All right, from 215 to 250 AD, their power on the Pontic Steppe was broken by the Gotha. Upon the Hunnic defeat of the Goths on the Pontic Steppe around 375 AD, many of the Alans migrated westward along the various Germanic tribes. They crossed the Rhine in 406 AD along with the Vandals and Sebai setting in Orleans and Valence. Around 409 AD, they joined the Vandals and Sebai in the crossing of the Pyrenees into the Iberian Peninsula, setting in Lusitania and Carthagenesis. All right. The Iberian Alans were soundly defeated by the Visigoths in 418 AD. All praises. All right, let's keep going. And subsequently surrendered their authority to the Hasdrugi Vandals. In 428 AD, the Vandals and Alans crossed the Strait of Gibraltar into North Africa, where they founded a powerful kingdom which lasted until its conquest by the Byzantine Empire, Justinian I in the 6th century AD. The Alans, who remained under the Hunnic rule, founded a powerful kingdom in the North Caucasus in the Middle Ages, which ended with the Mongol invasions in the 13th century AD. These Alans are said to be the ancestors of the modern Osetians. The Elan spoke an Eastern Iranian language, which derived from Scytho-Samaritan, and which in turn evolved into modern Ossetian. All right, all praise to the Most High. Now let's read that part again. All right, it says that in 428 AD, the Vandals and Elans crossed the Strait of Gibraltar into North Africa. Doesn't this fit the description of Genesis where it says that the Lord will enlarge Japheth? I mean, as you can see, Japheth is everywhere within Britain, Germany, Russia, all right, China, Indonesia, Thailand, all right? And he done made his way to the North African region, man. And the crazy part is that's not even it. Japheth is spread throughout the whole world, man. He is in the tents of Shem. Canaan is his servant to this day. And all praise to the Most High, man. You know, this is only the first video, man. I got a lot of information, man. It's going to put a lot of false doctrines down. With that being said, man, like I say, man, let's just keep on keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments, man. I'm just here to help y'all understand history, biblical history, and prophecy, man. Once all said is done, this is going to all add up.
Here's a geographical map of the Caucasus region located by Russia, Georgia, Turkey, Azerbaijan, and Iran. So as you can see, if you say that Esau is of the white man, he comes from the Caucasus region, you're saying that he's from Russia. We all know that Russia is not near Edom.
Let's check out the Northern Caucasus, which is the northern part of the Caucasus region between the Sea of Azov and the Black Sea on the west, and the Caspian Sea on the east, which is located in Russia. Geographically, the Northern Caucasus territory, north of the Greater Caucasus Mountain Range, includes the Russian republics and cries of the North Caucasus as part of the Russian Federation and Northern Caucasus region, which is included in the North Caucasian and Southern Federal Districts and consists of Krasnodar Krai, Strathcogor Krai, and the constituted republics approximately from west to east. Geographically, the term North Caucasus also refers to the northern slope and western extremity of the Caucasus Major Mountain Range, as well as part of the southern slope to the west. The northern part of the North Caucasus is typically considered part of the Eastern Europe. The Four-Caucasus Steppe area is often also encompassed under the notion of Caucasus. Thus, the northern boundary, the Four-Caucasus Steppe, is generally considered by the Mayak River. All right, let's jump over here to the Rajib Goat Turks. Rajib, the Goat Turks, all right? All praises. As you can see, the first empire is established by the Goat Turks, which is the first Turkic Cognate, the Western Turkic Cognate, the Eastern Turkic Cognate, and the second Turkic Cognate. All praises. The Goat Turks, Celestial Turks, or Blue Turks, Old Turkic, all right, Romanized, all right, Turuk, Bodan, Chinese, all right, were a nomadic confederation of Turkic people in medieval Inner Asia. The Goat Turks, under the leadership of Buman Kughan, 552, and his son succeeded the Rorihan Cognate in the main power in the region, established the Turkic Cognate, one of several nomadic dynasties, all right, which would shape the future geolocation, culture, and dominant beliefs of the Turkic peoples. All right? All praises. So the Western Turkic Cognate, all right, Onag Cognate, Romanized, on Akbundan, all right, 10 Arrow people was a Turkic Cognate in Eurasia, formed as a result of the wars in the beginning of the 7th century AD 593 to 603. After the split of the Turkic Cognate, founded in the 6th century in Mongolia by the Ashina clan into the Western and an Eastern Cognate. The whole confederation was called Onak, meaning 10 arrows. According to a Chinese source, the Western Turks were organized into 10 divisions. The Cognate's capital were Navigate, summer capital, and Suab, principal capital, both situated in the Shui River Valley of Kyrgyzstan. To the east from Bikshik, Tung, Yugbi's summer capital was near Tashkent, and its winter capital Suab. The Western Turkic Cognate was subjugated by the Tang dynasty in 657. It was succeeded by the Khazars. So with that being said, all praise to the Most High, we're going to go into some more background information on the Khazars, whom a lot of the Hebrew Israelite camps like to say they are Esau, also known as the Ashkenazi Jews, okay? All right, so we're going to prove out how the Khazars are also of the seed of Japheth. So as y'all can see right now, this is nothing but Japheth conquering Japheth, you know what I'm saying, as they go along through these dynasties and empires, and then they're going to reach throughout Africa, the tents of Shem, you know what I'm saying. As you can see, you have the Ashkenazi Jews, you know, in the tents of Shem over there in the land right now, okay. So as you can see, this is prophecy working out how the Most High will enlarge Japheth, all right. But Let's stay up on this 4-course meal. Let's continue to get this feed, and let's stay positive. All praise to the Most High. The Eastern Turkic Cognate, all right? The Eastern Turkic Cognate, which is Chinese pinyin, all right, was a Turkic cognate formed as a result of the internecine wars in the beginning of the 7th century AD 593 to 603 after the Göktürk cognate founded in the 6th century in the Magnolia by the Ashinan clan had splintered into two politeties, Eastern and Western. Finally, the Western Turkic power was absorbed by the Chinese Tang Empire. All right, all praises. All right, so we have the second Turkic cognate, which is Old Turk, okay? Bang Staccato inscription 682 to 74 was a cognate in Central and Eastern Asia, founded by Ashinan clan of the Göktürks. It was preceded by the Eastern Turkic cognate 532 to 630. All right, this is AD, and then a period of Tang Chinese rule 630 to 682 AD. The second cognate was centered on the Yurikan in the upper reaches of the Orkhon River. It was succeeded by the Uyghur cognate, all right, which is all seeds of Japheth. All right, all praise to the Most High. The Khazars, Greek, were a semi-nomadic Turkic people, all right? So the people that y'all love to say Esau is, okay? Y'all say that Esau is the Khazars, the so-called white man. You're saying that he is a semi-nomadic Turkic people with a confederation of Turkic-speaking tribes that in the late 6th century CE established a major commercial empire covering the southwestern section of modern Europe, Russia. All right, so this is where y'all placing Esau at, man. All right, the Khazars created what for its duration was the most powerful polity to emerge from the breakup of the Western Turkic cognate. Astride a major artery of the commerce between Eastern Europe and Southwestern Asia, Khazaria became one of the foremost trading empires of the medieval world, commanding the western marches of the Silk Road and playing a key commercial role as the crossroad between China, the Middle East, and Kievan Rus. For some 3 centuries, 650 to 965, the Khazars dominated the vast area extending from the Volga-Don steppes to the eastern Crimea and the northern Caucasus. This is Japheth enlarging, all right? Now, between the Byzantine Empire and both the nomads and the northern steppes and the Umayyad Caliphate, after serving as the Byzantines' proxy against the Sasanian Persian Empire, the alliance was dropped around 900. The Byzantium began to encourage the Alans, which we discovered was the Ekalenum, all seed of Japheth, all praises, to attack Khazaria and weaken its hold on Crimea and the Caucasus, while seeking to obtain an entity with a rising Rus power to the north, which it aspired to convert to Christianity. Between 965 and 969, the Kievan Rus ruler Vyacheslav I in Kiev conquered the capital, Latil, and destroyed the Khazar state. Determining the origins and nature of the Khazar is closely bound with theories of their languages, but it's a matter of intricate difficulty since no indigenous records in the Khazar language survive, and the state was polyglot and polyethnic, all right? The native religion of the Khazar is thought to have been Tigrinism. There it is again. The native religion of the Khazar has proceeded to be Tigrinism, in which we discover in the early parts of this video that Tigrinism is the worship of the deity of their sky god, all right? So all this is connecting, like I said. All right, let's continue. Like that of the North Caucasus Huns and other Turkic peoples. The polyethnic populace of the Khazar cognate appears to have been a multi-confessional mosaic of pagan, Tigris, Jewish, Christian, and Muslim. All right. which just so happen to be all an abomination to the Most High. All four of those names I just said is an abomination to the Most High Yahuwah. All praise to the Most High. The ruling elite of the Khazars was said by Judah, Levi, and Abraham ibn Dud to have converted to the Rabbinic Judaism in the 8th century, but the scope of the conversation within the Khazar Khanate remains uncertain. Proposals of the Khazar organs have been made regarding the Berkerian Jews, the Muslim Kumiks, the Khazars, and the Crossacks of the Don region, the Turkic-speaking Krimshaks and their Crimean neighbors, the Karaites, to the Moldavian Sagnos and the Mountain Jews, Sabbatiques, and others. The late 19th century saw the emergence of the theory that the core of today's Ashkenazi Jews are descended from the hypothetical Khazarian Jewish diaspora which migrated westward from the modern-day Russia. All right? The Khazars, the Ashkenazi Jews, all right, they migrated westward from the modern-day Russia and Ukraine. So as you can see right here, all right, that this breakdown is proving who the white man really is, all right? And it's not Esau. Esau didn't migrate, all right, up to no Russia in Ukraine, all right? The so-called Ashkenazi Jews, all right? And we're going to prove that. Now let's keep reading after this, all right? And it says, into the modern day France and Germany, linguistic and genetic studies have not supported the theory of Khazar connection to Ashkenazi Jews. The theory still finds occasional support, but most scholars view it with considerable skepticism. The theory is sometimes associated with anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism. All right, so basically what they're saying is, man, you know, that linguistic and genetic studies really don't support it. Basically because they don't want to be Nick Cannon, all right? They don't want to be considered anti-Semitism or anti-Zion, all right? They don't want to be Nick Cannon, all right? But we all know the truth and we all see what's going on. All praise to the Most High. All right? Now let's do a verse on Esau real fast so we can see what's going on. Here's Deuteronomy chapter 2, verse 1 through 5. Then we turned and took our journey into the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea, as the Lord spoke unto me, and we compassed Mount Seir many days. And the Lord spake unto me, saying, You have compassed this mount long enough. Turn you northward, and command thou thy people, saying, Ye are to pass through the coast of your brethren, the children of Esau, which dwell in Seir, and they shall be afraid of you. Take ye good heed unto yourselves, therefore. Meddle not with them, for I will not give you of their land, no, not much as a foot breadth, because, why? Yahweh, I have given Mount Seir unto Esau for a possession. All right, he gave Mount Seir to Esau for a possession. Now let's look and see where Mount Seir is located. All right, here's a map of where Mount Seir will be located. I looked on my GPS. Mount Seir said it was Mount Seir was located by the Jordan. As you can see, it would be in between Egypt and Syria. All right, so this is where you can see Esau was located. All right, where Esau dwelled in the possession that the Most High had given unto our brother Esau, which is mentioned in Deuteronomy chapter 2, verse 1 through 5, and it is still there until this day, and it will not be destroyed until the end time. All right, following Revelations chapter 20, and also the whole chapter of Obadiah. All right. All praise to the Most High, and which will be broken down in later segments of my videos. But we're going to do this the correct way. All right. We're not going to rush into nothing. We're going to make sure that the people understand, have the spirit to understand. All right. Pray for understanding. Okay. So, I'm going to leave this up for a little minute, let y'all see, where Esau dwelled at, get that geographical image in y'all mind and separate it from where Japheth, all right, migrated to. Okay, all praise to the Most High. As you can see, Japheth is all at the top. As you can see, right at the top of Esau, you got Turkey, Greece, Romania, Ukraine, Finland, Poland, all right. Right to the side, Iraq, which is all Japheth, man. You know what I'm saying? So let's not be oblivious to this information, man. We just place Esau to where Esau is at. All right, this is where he dwelled. This is where he's still at. And like I say, man, I'm going to prove to y'all also how Esau later on integrated his seed with Japheth, all right? Everyone around this world, man. Esau is in everyone, man. But to say that Esau is the white man, all right. Next, what we have on our list is Turkey, or Turkey, also Turku, which is an urban locality, an urban type settlement under the administrative jurisdiction of the Sovetski City District and of the city of Mahakala, all right, in the Republic of Dagestan, Russia, all right, located on the Tsakurtu Mountain. As of 2010 census, its population was 15,356, all right. As you can see, it is represented by the crescent moon and the star, all right. All right, Turkey is an transcontinental country located mainly on the Anatolian Peninsula in Western Asia, with a smaller portion on the Balkan Peninsula in the southeastern Europe. East Thrace, the part of Turkey in Europe, is separated from Anatolia by the Sea of Marmara, the Bosporus, and the Dardanelles, collectively called the Turkish Straits. Istanbul, which straddles Europe and Asia, is the largest city of the country, while Ankara is the capital. Turkey is bordered on its northwest by Greece and Bulgaria, north by the Black Sea, northeast by Georgia, aka Gog, east by Armenia, the Aspartani enclave of the Negevian, and Iran, southeast by Iraq, south by Syria and the Mediterranean Sea, and west by the Aegean Sea. Approximately 70 to 80% of the country's citizens identify as Turkish, while Kurds are the largest minority at between 15 to 20% of the population. All praises. At various points in its history, the region has been inhabited by diverse civilizations, including the Anatolian peoples, the Assyrians, the Greeks, the Thracians, the Phrygians, the Euryticians, and the Armenians. All right. Hellenization started during the era of Alexander the Great, continued into the Byzantine era. The Seljuk Turks began migrating into the area in the 11th century, and their victory over the Byzantine at the Battle of Mizinkert in 1071 symbolized the foundation of Turkey for many Turkish nationalists. The Sultanate of the Rum ruled Anatolia until the Mongol invasion in 1243, when it's disintegrated into small Turkish principalities called beyliks. Beginning in the late 13th century, the Ottomans started uniting the beyliks and conquering the Balkans. The Turkification of the Anatolia increased during the Ottoman period after Mehmed II conquered the Constantinople in 1453. The Ottoman expansion continued under the Suleiman I. All right, all praises. Which goes on to say, during the reign of Solomon the Magnificent, the Ottoman Empire encompassed much of the Southeast Europe, West Asia, and North Africa, and became a world power. From the late 18th century onwards, the empire power declined with a gradual loss of territories and wars. Now, I want y'all to peep game. Remember when I said a lot of people think that the Antichrist will come from Turkey? Well, the next information I bring out concerning this matter, this is why you will see. And it says, in President Ataturk enacted numerous reforms, many of which incorporated various aspects of Western thought, philosophy, and customs into the new form of Turkish government. Turkey is a charter member of the UN, an early member of NATO, the IMF, and the World Bank, and a founding member of the OECD, OSCE, BSEC, OIC, and G20, and becoming one of the early members of the Council of Europe in 1950. Turkey became an associate member of the EEC in 1963, joined the EU Customs Union in 1995, and started accessions negotiations with the European Union in 2005. And a non-binding vote on the 13th of March of 2019, the European Parliament called on the EU government to suspend the Turkey's accessions talk, which, despite being stalled since 2018, remained active as of 2020. Turkey's economy and diplomatic initiatives have led to its recognition as a regional power and newly industrialized state by several analysts, while its location has been given its geopolitical and strategic importance throughout history. Turkey is a secular unitary preliminary republic that's adopted a presidential system. A referendum in 2017, the new system came into effect with a presidential election in 2018. Turkey's current administration, headed by the president Recep Tayyip Erdogan of the AKP, has enacted measures to increase the influence of Islam and undermine Kemalist policies and freedom of the press. All right. So this is why, a lot of people say the Antichrist will come from Turkey. A lot of people will be beheaded, as you can see. Because till this day, Islam practiced the Ayashara law, which is backed by the Quran, which is backed off by being beheaded. So just check this information out, man. This is real information I'm giving y'all, man. To this day, people are being beheaded over there in Saudi Arabia, Christians and, other people for their religious beliefs, man. To this day, people get their heads cut off with swords. Here's a map of where Turkey is located down at the bottom where the blue dot is. As you can see, it's located above Syria, Iraq, Ezrum, Tabriz, Baku, Armenia, Georgia, a.k.a. Gog, South Elshidia, you know what I'm saying, Ashbakazia. As you can see, all these places that we have mentioned or talked about prior and earlier to this segment. This is very important, man, because as you can see, man, like it said within the reading, it said that Turkey has a very widespread and influence on the Western civilization. All right. And this is the Western. All right. It said that it was trying to push Islam, and, Islam is very well respected in America. So well respected that, even when you go to jail or prison, you know what I'm saying? If you're notified as an Islamic person, you have certain special days that are given to you that are notified and identified by the state, and I watch, cats eat regular plates in jail food. But when it came to those Islam days, they were given special food, special time out. You know what I'm saying? But like I say, man, so we gonna, God be it, Yahweh be it, that we get blessed, continue on with these videos and show that how, basically how Nimrod and Esau had a lot of influence on these Islam religions, man. All right. So all praise to the Most High, man. Let's go ahead and continue on. We're almost done with this first part of the segment. And I thank you everybody for tuning in. Agues, all right? Agues Turks, all right? Were a Western Turkic people that spoke Agues branch, all right, of the Turkic language family. In the 8th century, they formed a tribal confederation, conveniently named the Agues Yagdu state in the Central Asia. The name Agues is a common Turkic word for tribe. Byzantine sources call the Agues the Uzes. By the 10th century, Islamic sources were calling the Muslim Turkmens as opposed to the shamanists or Buddhists. By the 12th century, the term had passed into the Byzantine usage as Agues, were overwhelmingly Muslim. The term Agues was gradually supplanted among the Turks themselves by Turkmen and Turkoman. Ottoman Turkish, Romanized Turkmen or Turkmen from the mid-900s on a process which was completed by the beginning of the 1200s. All praises. Carry on. The Agues Confederation migrated westward from the Jetsu area after a conflict with the Korluk allies of the Uyghurs. Today, a percentage of the residents of Turkey, Azerbaijan, and the Turkmenistan are descendants of the Agues Turks, and their language belongs to the Agues group of the Turkic language family. Kara Khanid, scholar Muhammad El-Kashari, wrote that all the Turkic language that of the Agues was the simplest. He also observed that the Agues had been separated for so long from the Eastern Turks that the language of Eastern Turks in the East could be clearly distinguished from the language of the Agues in Kipchak further west. In the 9th century, the Agues from the Aral steppes drove beachheads from the Emba and Ural River region toward the west. In the 10th century, they inhabited the steppe of the rivers Sarisu, Torgai, and Emba to the north of the lake of Bilkash of the modern-day Kazakhstan. A clan of this nation, the Seljuks, embraced Islam in the 11th century and entered Persia, where they founded the Great Seljuk Empire. Similarly, in the 11th century, as a Tingrais, Auguz, clan referred to as the Uzis or the Turks in the Russian chronicles, which overthrew the Pecheneghes, supremacy in the Russian steppe, harried by another Turkic people, the Kipchaks. These Agus penetrated as far as the lower Danube and crossed it and invaded the Balkans, where they were struck down by an outbreak of plagues, causing the survivors either to flee or to join the Byzantine imperial forces as the mercenaries. The Agus seem to have been related to the Pechenings, which is the JAPHET seed, which we talked about in an early segment, some of whom were clean-shaven and others whom had small goatee beards, according to the Book of Attila and the nomad Hordes. Like the Kimaks, they set up many carved wooden funerary statues, all right, which is an abomination, surrounded by simple stone bell-ball monoliths. The author of this book goes on to note that the Uzis, or the Turks, whom which had settled along the Russian frontier, were gradually Slavicized, though they also played a leading role as the cavalry in the 1100 and early 1200 era Russian armies, where they were also known as Black Hacks. The Agus warriors served in almost all Islamic armies of the Middle East from the 1000 onwards, in the Byzantium from the 800s, and even in Spain and Morocco. In later centuries, they adapted and applied their own traditions and institutions to the ends of the Islamic world and emerged in empire builders with a constructive sense of statecraft. Linguistically, the Agus belong to the Goman Turkic-speaking group, characterized by sound correspondence such as common Turkic languages. All praises. Apart from the Seljuks dynasty, the Khwarezmians, Karakanalulu, Akkanalulu, Ottomans, and Afsharids are also believed to descend from the Agus Turkmen tribes of the Bagdil, Yiva, Bagdur, Kayai, Afshar, respectively, the Ottoman dynasty who gradually took over the Anatolia after the fall of the Seljuks toward the end of the 13th century, led an army that was also predominantly Agus. The Ottomans proved to be superior to the other local Agus Turkish states. Ahmet Bakan Yusgalu in early 15th century traced Osman's genealogy to the Agus Kagan, the mythical ancestors of the Western Turks, through his senior grandson of his senior son, so giving the Ottoman Sultans primacy among Turkish monarchs. All right, all praises to the Most High. Zabuk, Hungary, the Magaya Zoriag, is a country in Central Europe spanning 93,030 square kilometers, 35,920 square miles. And the Carpathian Basset, it borders the Slovakia to the north, Ukraine to the northeast, Romania to the east and southeast, Serbia to the south, Croatia and Slovenia to the southwest, and Austria to the west. All right, with about 10 million inhabitants, Hungary is a medium-sized member state of the European Union. The official language is Hungarian, which is the most widely spoken Uralic language in the world and among the few non-Indo-European languages to be widely spoken in Europe. Hungary capital and largest city is Budapest. Other major urban areas include Debrecen, Szeged, Mosklik, Pécs, and Győr. All praise to the Most High. The territory of present Hungary was for centuries inhabited by a succession of peoples, including Celts, Romans, Germanic tribes, Huns, West Slavs, and Avars. The foundation of the Hungarian state were established in the late 9th century AD by the Hungarian Grand Prince Arpad. Following the conquest of the Carpathian Basin, his great-grandson Stefan I ascended the throne in 1000, converting his realm to a Christian kingdom. By the 12th century, Hungary became a regional power, reaching its cultural and political height in the 15th century. Following the Battle of the Mohawks in 1526, Hungary was partially occupied by the Ottoman Empire. 1541 to 1699, it came under Habsburg rule. At the turn of the 18th century, it later joined the Austria to form the Austro-Hungarian Empire, a major European power. All praises. The Austro-Hungarian Empire collapsed after World War I and the subsequent Treaty of Trianon established Hungary-current borders, resulting in the loss of 71% of its territory, 58% of its population, and 32% of its ethnic Hungarians. Following the tumultuous interwar period, Hungary joined the Axis powers in World War II, suffering significant damage and casualties. Post-war Hungary became a satellite state of the Soviet Union, which contributed to the establishment of a socialist republic spanning 4 decades, from 1949 to 1989. Following its failed 1956 revolution against the Soviet-backed government, Hungary became a comparatively freer, though still repressive member of the Eastern Bloc. Its seminal opening of its previously restricted border with Austria in 1989 accelerated the collapse of the Eastern Bloc. Subsequently, the Soviet Union, on 23rd of October 1989, Hungary became a democratic parliamentary republic. Hungary is an OECD high-income economy and has the world's 54th largest economy by nominal GDP and the 53rd largest by PPP. It ranks 45th on the Human Development Index, due in the large part to its social security system, universal health care, and tuition-free secondary education. Hungary's rich cultural history includes significant contributions to the arts, music, literature, sports, science, and technology. It is the 13th most popular tourist destination in Europe, drawing 15.8 million international tourists in 2017, owing to attractions such as the largest thermal water cave system in the world, second largest thermal lake, the largest lake in Central Europe, and the largest natural grasslands in Europe. Hungary's cultural, historical, and academic prominence classifies it as a middle power in global affairs. Hungary joined the European Union in 2004 and has been part of the Schengen area since 2007. It is a member of the numerous international organizations, including the United Nations, NATO, WTO, World Bank, IIB, and AIIB, the Council of Europe, and the Visegrad Group. All praises. Let's dig deep into the Hungarians, which is a historical Hungarian lands who share a common ancestry, cultural history, and language. Hungarian belongs to the Uralic language family. There are an estimate of 4.2 to 4.5 million ethnic Hungarians and their descendants worldwide, of whom 9.6 million live in today's Hungary as of 2016. About 2.2 million Hungarians live in areas that were part of the Kingdom of Hungary before the Treaty of Trianon, all right, and are now parts of the Hungary 7 neighboring countries, all right, Slovakia, Ukraine, Romania, Serbia, Croatia, Slovenia, and Austria. Significant groups of people with Hungarian ancestry live in various other parts of the world, most of them in the United States, Canada, Germany, France, and the United Kingdom, Brazil, Austria, and Argentina. All right, so here, so as you can see right here, here's a little chart back from 2016 of regions with the most significant populations. And as you can see, of course, Hungary, its own national state, has it according to 9,632 people and 744. And opposed to at the bottom, United States run first place for having 1,437,694 people, next to Romania. All praises. The Hungarians can be classified into several subgroups according to the local linguistic and cultural characteristics. Subgroups with distinct identities includes the Cycles and the Sangos, the Palak and the Machios. The Jazz people are considered to be an originally Iranic ethnic group, more closely related to the Oshetians than to other Hungarian groups. All praises. Here's the GPS map of Hungary. As you can see, it is surrounded by JAPHET's children in their countries: Italy, Greece, Bulgaria, Serbia, Croatia, Austria, Slovakia, Romania, Moldova, Ukraine, Belarus, Lithuania, Poland, Denmark, all right, Germany, Netherlands, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Estonia, all right. All these places we have broken down within these segments. All right, all praise to the Most High. We give glory to Yahweh for giving us the time and opportunity and the wisdom and knowledge on coming upon these historical evidence and proof of who the white man truly is. All right. Ungar, which was the first settlement of the Isfor Bogars after their settlement on the lower Danube in the second half of the 7th century. The Ungal began as a fortified camp with an area of 48 kilometers. The location of the Ungal is described by the Byzantine chroniclers Theophanes, the Confessor, and Nikephoros I of Constantinople. All praises, all right? The Isfor of Bulgaria, all right, which is the ruler of the Bulgars in the second half of the 7th century, and is credited with the establishment of the First Bulgarian Empire in 681. All praises. Let's jump back into scripture real fast. Pick up where we left off at. But the families of Angoli, Bogar, and Parzanuk, they dwell by the river Dubni, and the names of their cities are also according to their own names. And the children of Javan, or the Javanian, who dwell in the land of Macedonia, and the children of Medir, or the Oralim, that dwell in the land of Curson, and the children of Tabal, or those that dwell in the land of Tuscana by the river Pishai, and the children of Mishe, or the Shibshini, and the children of Tyrus, Rashah, Cushni, and Angoles, and these went and built cities. Those are the cities that are situated by the sea Jebus, by the river Cura, which empties itself in the river Tragan, and the children of Elisha, or the Elaminim, and they also went and built themselves cities. Those are the cities situate between the mountains of Job and Shabathmo, and of them were the people of Lombardy, who dwell opposite of the mountains of Job and Shabathmo, and they conquered the land of Italia, and remain there unto this day. Of course, you know that's Italy. And the children of Kittim, or the Romane, which is Rome, who dwell in the valley of Canopia by the river of Tiberu, and the children of Dodanim, or those who dwell in the cities of Jahan in the land of Bordna. These are the families of the children of Japheth according to their cities and languages when they were scattered after the tower. And they called their cities after their names and occurrences, and these are the names of all their cities according to their families, which they built in those days after the tower. All praises. And this is the last one from verse 10, from the 10 families up to Gorma, which is the Tori, which is the Scythe, right? Later on found out to be the Crimeans, okay? Were a people settled on the southern coast of the Crimea Peninsula, inhabiting the Crimean Mountains in the first millennium BC, in the narrow strip of the land between the mountains and the Black Sea. According to the sources, Taurians lived in Crimean Peninsula for the first time and never abandoned its borders. Never abandoned. They gave their name to the peninsula, which was known in ancient times as Taurika, Taurida, and Tauris. All praises. Now, the Crimean Mountains, all right, which is Russian, are a range of mountains running parallel to the southeastern coast of Crimea between about 8 to 13 kilometers, 5 to 8 miles from the sea toward the west. The mountains drop steeply to the Black Sea and to the east. They change slowly into a steppe landscape. The Scythians, also known as Scythe, Saka, Sky, Iskuzai, or Uskizai, were a nomadic people who dominated the Pontic steppe from about the 7th century BC up until the 3rd century BC. They were part of the wider Scythian culture stretching across the Eurasian steppe, which included many peoples that are distinguished from the Scythians because of this. A broad concept referring to all early Eurasian nomads as Scythians has sometimes been used. Within the concept, the actual Scythians are variously referred to as classical Scythians, European Scythians, Pontic Scythians, or Western Scythians. Use of this term Scythians for all early Eurasian nomads has, however, led to much confusion in literature, and the validity of such terminology is controversial. Other names for that concept are therefore preferable. The Scythians are generally believed to have been of Iranian origin. They spoke of a language of Scythian branch of the Eastern Iranian. Nomads has, however, led to much confusion in literature, and the validity of such terminology is controversial. Other names for that concept are therefore preferable. The Scythians are generally believed to have been an Iranian origin. They spoke a language of the Scythian branch of the Eastern Iranian languages and practiced a variant of ancient Iranian religions. Among the earliest peoples to master mounted warfare, the Scythians replaced the Cimmerians as the dominant power on the Pontic steppe in the 8th century BC. During this time, they and related peoples came to dominate the entire Eurasian steppe from the Carpathian Mountains in the west to the Ordos Plateau in the east, creating what has been called the First Central Asian Nomadic Empire, based on what is the modern-day Ukraine and southern Russia. All right. All praises. The Scythians were led by a nomadic warrior aristocracy known as the Royal Scythians, who called themselves Skaludi. In the 7th century BC, the Scythians crossed the Caucasus and frequently raided the Middle East along the Cimmerians. In the 7th century BC, the Scythians crossed the Caucasus and frequently raided the Middle East, all right, along with the Cimmerians, playing an important role in the political developments of the region. Did you hear that? The Scythians, which is the seed of Japheth, okay, crossed the Caucasus and frequently raided the Middle East, okay, which is the Most High's fulfilling prophecy of enlarging Japheth, along with the Cimmerians playing an important role in the political development of the region. Around 650 to 630 BC, the Scythians briefly dominated the Medes of the western Iranian plateau, stretching their power to the borders of Egypt. All right? This is the Most High's prophecy saying how he will enlarge Japheth. After losing control over Media, the Scythians continued intervening in Middle East affairs, playing a leading role in the destruction of the Assyrian Empire and the sack of Nineveh in 612 BC. The Scythians subsequently engaged in frequent conflicts with the Achaemenid Empire. The Scythians suffered a major defeat against Macedonia in the 4th century and were subsequently gradually conquered by the Sarmatians, a related Iranian people living to their east. In the late 2nd century BC, their capital at Scythian Neapolis in the Crimea was captured by Mithridates and their territories incorporated into the Bosporan kingdom. All right. By its time, they had been largely Hellenized. By the 3rd century AD, the Sarmatians and the last remnants of the Scythians were dominated by the Elans and were being overwhelmed by the Goths by early Middle Ages, and the Scythians and the Sarmatians had been largely assimilated and absorbed by early Slavs. The Scythians were instrumental in the ethnogenesis of the Ossetians, who are believed to be descended from the Elans. All praises. The Scythians played an important part in the Silk Road, a vast trade network in connecting ancient Greece, Persia, India, and China, perhaps contributing to the contemporary flourishing of those civilizations. Settled metalworkers made portable, decorative objects for the Scythians. These objects survived mainly in metal, forming a distinctive Scythian art. The name of the Scythians survived in the region of Scythia. Early authors continued to use the term Scythian, applying it to many later nomadic groups unrelated to the Scythians who appeared in Scythia in later centuries. The Cimmerians were a nomadic Indo-European people who appeared about 1000 BC and are mentioned later in 8th century BC in Assyrian records. While the Cimmerians were often described by contemporaries as cultural Scythians, they evidently differed ethnically from the Scythian proper, who also displaced and replaced the Cimmerians. As we read in the beginning segment of the Scythians, all praises to the Most High. Now here's a map of the Scythians, or Scythia, and as you can see at the bottom towards the southwest, you see Rome. All praises. And then it goes on to say, probably originating in the Pontic steppe, the Cimmerians subsequently migrated both into the Western Europe and to the south by the way of the Caucasus. Some of them likely comprised a force that 714 BC invaded the Urartu, a state subject to the Neo-Assyrian Empire. The foray was defeated by the Assyrian forces under Sargon II in 705, after which the same southern branch of the Cimmerians turned westward, Anatolia, and conquered Phrygia. In 696 and 5, they reached the height of their power in 652. After taking Sardis, the capital of Lydia, however, an invasion of the Assyrian-controlled Anshan was thwarted soon after 619. Eliades of Lydia defeated them. There are no further mentions of them in historical sources, but it is likely that they settled in Cappadocia. Just jump into the Macedonians, North Macedonia, all right, which is a country in the Balkan Peninsula in the southeast Europe. It gained its independence in 1991 as one of the successor states of the Yugoslavia, a landlocked country. North Macedonia has borders with the Kosovo to the northwest, Serbia to the northeast, Bulgaria to the east, Greece to the south, and Albania to the west. It constitutes approximately the northern third of the larger geographical region of Macedonia. The capital and largest city, Skopje, is home to roughly a quarter of the country's 2.6 million inhabitants. The majority of the residents are ethnic Macedonians, a South Slavic people. Albanians form a significant minority at around 25%, followed by Turks, Romani, Serbs, Bosniaks, and Armenians. All praises. So now we at Tibal, Tuscany, also known as Tuscany, which is a region in central Italy with an area of about 23,000 square kilometers, 8,900 square miles, had a population of about 3.8 million inhabitants in 2013. The region's capital is Florence or Firenze. Tuscany, all praises. Here's a geographical map. As you can see, the country is Italy. Tuscany is known for its landscapes, history, and artistic legacy, and its influence on high culture. It is regarded as the birthplace of the Italian Renaissance and has been home to many figures influential in the history of art, science, and contains well-known museums such as the Uffizi and the Pt1. Tuscany produces wines including Chianti, Vino Nobile di Montepulciano, Morliano di Scansano, and Brunello di Montesiano. Having a strong linguistic and cultural identity, it is sometimes considered a nation within a nation. Tuscany is a popular destination in Italy. The main tourist spots are Florence, Pisa, Castiglione della Porcia, Grosseto, and Siena. The town of Castiglione della Porcia is the most visited seaside destination in the region, with the seaside tourism accounting for approximately 40% of tourist arrivals. Additionally, the Maremma region, Siena, Lucca, and the Chianti region for Silla and Val d'Orcia are also internationally renowned and particularly popular spots among travelers. All praises. Now, the 7 Tuscan localities have been designated World Heritage Sites: the historic center of Florence, 1982, the Cathedral Square of Pisa, 1987, the historical century of San Guamano, 1990, the historical center of Siena, 1995, the historical center of Piazza, 1996, the Val d'Orcia, 2004, and the Medica Villas and Gardens, 2013. Tuscany has, however, 120 protected nature reserves, making Tuscany and its capital Florence popular tourist destinations that attract millions of tourists every year. In 2012, the city of Florence was the world's 89th most visited city with 1.834 million arrivals. Tyrus, aka the Ungolis or Mongolian, according to Genesis 10 and Chronicles 1, the last named son of Japheth, who is otherwise unmentioned in the Hebrew Bible. The name is sometimes associated by scholars with the Teresh or Tertia. All praise to the Most High. One of the groups which made up the Sea Peoples, a naval confederacy which terrorized Egypt and other Mediterraneans around 1200 BCE. These Sea People are referred to as Tertia and as Teresh of the sea, on the Mernatha. Still, some of other scholars associate Tyrus with Thrace or the Etruscans. In 1838, the German scholar Johann Christian Friedrich Tuck suggested identifying Tyrus with the Etruscans, who, according to Greek and Roman sources such as Herodotus 94, had been living in Lydia as the Tarensinoi before immigrating to Italy as early as the 8th century. All praises. The Etruscan civilization was a civilization of ancient Italy whose territory covered roughly what is now Tuscany, western Umbria, and northern Lazio, as well as parts of what are now the Po Valley, Emilia-Romagna, southeastern Lombardy, southern Veneto, and Campania. All praises. The earliest evidence of a culture that is identified Etruscan dates from about 900 BC. This is the period of the Iron Age. Villanovian culture, considered to be the earliest phase of the Etruscan civilization, which itself developed from the previous late Bronze Age Proto-Villavian culture in the same region. Etruscan civilization endured it until it was assimilated into the Roman society. Assimilation began in the late 4th century BC as a result of the Roman-Etruscan Wars. It accelerated with the grant of Roman citizenship in 90 BC. It became complete in 27 BC. All praises. Now, when the Etruscan territory was incorporated into the newly established Roman Empire, Etruscan culture was influenced by ancient Greek culture beginning around 750 BC during the last phase of the Vindelian period, when the Greeks, who were at this time in their archaic Orientalization period, started founding colonies in southern Italy. Greeks' influence also occurred in the 4th and 5th centuries BC during Greece's classical period. The territorial extent of the Etruscan civilization reaches maximum around 750 BC during the foundational period of the Roman kingdom. Its culture flourished in 3 confederacies of cities, that of Etruria, Tuscany, Latium, and Umbria, that of the Po Valley with the Eastern Alps, and that of Campania. The League in northern Italy is mentioned in Livy. The reduction in the Etruscan territory was gradual, but after 500 BC, the political balance of power on the Italian peninsula shifted away from the Etruscan in favor of the rising Roman Republic. Elishiah, the Cypriots. Eliseus was the son of Javan, according to the book of Genesis 10:4. The Masoretic text, the Greek Septuagint in Genesis 10, lists Elisa not only as the son of Javan, but also a grandson of Japheth. All praises. His name is spelled differently in Hebrew to the prophet Elisha, ending in a hi instead of an in. Scholars have often identified Elisha with Cypriots, as in ancient times the islands of Cyprus or part of it as known as Elishai. Judean historian Flavius Josephus related to the descendants of Elisha with the Aeolians, one of the ancestral branches of the Greeks. Elisha is also mentioned in the medieval rabbinic book of Jasher, Hebrew translation Sefer Hasher. He is said in the Jasher to have been the ancestor of the Almanim, possibly a reference to the Germanic tribes Elmani. An older and more common tradition refers to him as the settler of Greece, particularly Elis and the Peloponnese. All praises. According to the Lusitanian mythology, traditionally makes Elisha under the name Lysias, an ancestor and predecessor of Lucis. Elisha, being older, having arrived, accompanied his uncle Tubal, founding in Portugal in 1900 BC under Iberian king Brigo. Lysias' own supposed tomb in Portugal claims that he was the first cultivator of Lusitania. Lucis' reign is traditionally placed at the 16th to 15th centuries BC in the Livre Premier da Monarchia Lusitania. All this is debated. Lucis has also been described as coming before Lysias, who would thus be too late to be Elisha, or vaguely at the same time, or even the same individual under the different names. Lucis is sometimes called the son of Bacchus and of the lineage of Lysis, or the other way around, or even a mere companion. The Portuguese orator and the mythographer Father Antonio Vieira, 1608 to 1687, refers to Elisha under his actual biblical name as founder and eponym of Lisbon and Lusitania when he came to Iberia with his uncle Tubal, as well as the origin in the name of mythological Elysium. Vieira also identified Elisha's biblical brother Tarkish as the founder of the Tartessos and Andalusia, implying both would have come to Iberia with Tubal, though this isn't the only theory on the identity of Tarkish. All praises. Mythological Elysium. Vieira also identified Elisha's biblical brother Tarshish as the founder of Tartessos and Andalusia, implying both would have come to Iberia with Tubal, though this isn't the only theory of the identity of Tarshish. Elisha and the Portuguese portrayal is identified with Becus, Captain, Liasis, Lishas, sometimes also the Lucis, and Fornias, and is referred to as the founder of Portugal and being buried at the Eremida de São Cristivevo chapel at the St. Christopher inside the town. All praises. Here's pretty much a map of basically how JAPHET, the map of JAPHET, as you can see, Taurus, Gomor, Scythians, all right, Joktan, everything that we didn't talk about, man, is right there. So here's a map in reference to that. As you can see at the top, the world as known to the Hebrews, all right, all praises. As you can see, here's a picture of the ancient Cypriots who went into exile. All right, so these will be JAPHET's kids. So you should see they're melanin. And last but not least, we have Kittim, which was a settlement in the present-day Larnaca on the east coast of Cyprus, known in the ancient time as Kittien, or in Latin, Kitium. On this basis, the whole island became known as Kittim in Hebrew, including the Hebrew Bible. However, the name seems to have been employed with some flexibility in Hebrew literature. It was often applied to all Aegean islands and even to the west in general, but especially the seafaring west. Flavius Josephus, 100 AD, records in the Antiquities of the Jews that the Sethmas, son of Javan, possessed the island of Sethema. It is now called Cyprus, and from that it is that all islands and the greatest part of the sea coast are named Setham by the Hebrews, and one city there is in Cyprus that has been able to preserve its denomination and has been called Citius or Citium by those who use the language of the Greeks. Then it goes on to say, and has not, by the use of that dialect, escaped the name of Ketham or Setham. The expression Isles of Kittim, found in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 2 and 10. The expression Isles of Kittim, found in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 2 and 10, and Ezekiel, chapter 27 and 6, indicates that some centuries prior to Josephus, this designation had already become a general descriptor for the Mediterranean islands. This designation was further extended to apply to Romans, Macedonians, and Seleucid Greeks. All praises. The Septuagint translate the occurrences of Kittim in the book of Daniel, chapter 11, verse 30. First Maccabees 1:1 states that Alexander the Great, the Macedonian, had come from the land of Kittim in the war of the sons of the light against the sons of darkness from the Dead Sea Scrolls. The Kittim are referred to as being of Ashur. Eliezer Sukenuk argued that this is the reference to Ashur should be understood to refer to the Seleucid Empire, which controlled the territory of the former Assyrian Empire at that time. But his son, Yigel Yadin, interpreted this phrase as a veiled reference to the Romans. All praises. Rome, Latin, Italian, Roma, is the capital city and a special commune of Italy, named Comune di Roma Capitale, as well as the capital of the Lazio region. This city has been a major human settlement for over 2 millennia, with 2,860,009 residents and 1,285 kilometers. It also is the country's most populated commune. It is the third most populous city in the European Union by population within city limits. It is the century of the metropolitan city of Rome, all praises, which has a population of 4,330,000 355,725 residents, thus making it the most populous metropolitan city in Italy. Its metropolitan area is the third most populous within Italy. Rome is located in the central western portion of the Italian peninsula within Lazio or Latium along the shores of Tiber, Vatican City, which is the smallest country in the world. It's an independent country inside city boundaries of Rome. The only existing example of this country within a city. For this reason, Rome has sometimes been defined as the capital of two states. Now, I know you've been hearing this name a lot throughout the whole segment, which is the Byzantine Empire. You can't talk about Rome without talking about the Byzantine Empire. All praises. Which is also referred to as an Eastern Roman Empire or Byzantium, was the constitution of the Roman Empire in its eastern provinces during late antiquity. In the Middle Ages, when the capital city was Constantinople, modern Istanbul, formerly Byzantium. It survived the fragmentation and the fall of the Western Roman Empire in the 5th century AD and continued to exist for 1,000 more years until it fell to the Ottoman Empire in 1453. During most of its existence, the empire was the most powerful economic, cultural, and military force in Europe. The term Byzantine Empire was created only after its fall, and its citizens continued to refer to their empire simply as the Roman Empire, all right, or Romania, and to themselves Romans. The Roman Empire, all right, was the post-Republican period of ancient Rome. As a polity, it included large territorial holdings around the Mediterranean Sea in Europe, Northern Africa, and Western Asia, ruled by emperors from the accessions of Caesar Augustus to the military anarchy of the 3rd century. It was principate with Italy as metropole of the provinces and the city of Rome, as sole capital 27 BC to 286 AD. Although fragmented briefly during the military crisis, the empire was forcibly reassembled, then ruled by multiple emperors who shared rule over the Western Roman Empire based in the Milan and later in Ravenna, and over the Eastern Roman Empire based in Nicomedia and later in Constantinople. Rome remained the normal capital of both parts until 476 AD, when the imperial insignia were sent to Constantinople following the capture of Ravenna by the barbarians of Odoacer and the subsequent depositions of Romulus Augustus. The fall of the Western Roman Empire to Germanic kings along the Hellenization of Eastern Roman Empire into the Byzantine Empire conveniently marked the end of the ancient Rome and the beginning of the Middle Ages. All right. Here we have a list of the emperors of Rome from Augustus all the way down to Constantine. The predecessor state of the Roman Empire, the Roman Republic, which had replaced Rome's monarchy in the 6th century BC, became severely destabilized in the series of civil wars and political conflicts. In the mid-1st century BC, Julius Caesar was appointed as perpetual dictator and then assassinated in 44 BC. Civil wars and proscriptions continued, culminating in the victory of Octavian, Caesar's adopted son, over Mark Antony and Cleopatra at the Battle of Actium in 31 BC. The following year, Octavian conquered Ptolemaic Egypt, ending in the Hellenistic period that had begun with the conquest. All right.
See, right here you have another situation of Japheth seed taking over a part of Egypt, as it goes on to say that ending in the Hellenistic period that had begun with the conquest of Alexander the Great, all right, of Macedon in the 4th century BC. Octavian's power there became unaccessible in 27 BC. The Roman Senate formally granted him overarching power and the new title Augustus, effectively making him the first Roman emperor. The first 2 centuries of the empire saw a period of unprecedented stability and prosperity. The first 2 centuries of the empire saw a period of unprecedented stability and prosperity, known as the Pax Romana, Roman peace. Rome reached its greatest territorial expanse during the reign of Trajan, 98 to 117 AD. A period of increasing trouble and decline began with the reign of Commodus, 177 to 192. In the 3rd century, the empire underwent a crisis
that threatened its existence as the Gallic Empire and the Ptolemaic Empire broke away from the Roman state, and a series of short-lived emperors, often from the legions, led the empire. The empire was reunified under the Uralian 270 to 275 in an effort to stabilize its dialectic setup of two different imperial courts in the Greek East and Latin West in 286. Christians rose to position of power in the 4th century following the Edict of Milan of 313, shortly after the migration period involving large invasions by Germanic peoples and by the Huns of Attilia, led to decline of the Western Roman Europe. With the fall of the Ravenna and the Germanic Herulaeans and the deposition of the Romulus Augustulus in 476 AD by Odessier, the Western Roman Empire finally collapsed. The Eastern Roman Empire, Zeno formally abolished in 480 AD. Nonetheless, some states in the territories of the former Western Roman Empire would later claim to have inherited the supreme power of the emperors of Rome, most notably the Holy Roman Empire. The Eastern Roman Empire, usually described by modern historians as the Byzantine Empire, survived for another millennium until its collapse when Constantinople fell to the Ottoman Turks of the Sultan Mehmed II in 1453. Due to the Roman Empire's vast extent and long endurance, the institutions and culture of Rome had a profound and lasting influence on the development of language, religion, art, architecture, philosophy, law, and forms of government in the territory it governed, and as far as beyond. The Latin language of the Romans evolved into the Romance language of the medieval and modern world. The medieval Greek became the language of the Eastern Roman empires. The empire's adoption of the Christianity led to the formation of the medieval Christendom. So as you can see, the Romans are the ones that adopted Christianity religion. Greek and Roman art had been profound and impact to the Italian Renaissance. All praises. Then it goes on to say Rome's architectural tradition served as the basis for Romanesque Renaissance and neoclassical architecture. And here's the killer. And also had a strong influence on Islamic architecture. All right. Which we know Islam loves to behead their enemies. The corpus of the Roman law has its descendants in many legal systems of the world today, such as the Napoleonic Code, while Rome's republican institutions have left an enduring legacy, influencing the Italian city-state republics of the medieval period, as well as the early United States and other modern democratic republic. All praise.